I think we can all agree that Gunther's title reign has been less than stellar so far, and we can also agree that Jey Uso is most likely going to be taking the belt off of him this WrestleMania. But let's go through and actually dissect why Gunther's title reign has been so shit so far. Let's start where Gunther actually won the title, and that being SummerSlam 2024, this past SummerSlam, where he took the belt from Damian Priest after Finn Balor betrayed Priest, and then them two went on a feud for a couple of months. Gunther actually looked really good in this match, and so did Damian Priest. This was one of Gunther's best matches, including this belt, and this match is not talked about enough. I gotta be honest, it really is not talked about enough. This match was so damn good. It had no reason being this good, and it blew it out of the park. This match was so damn good. If you don't remember it, you really need to go back and watch it. This is one of the heaviest hitting matches I have ever seen. Priest made Gunther bleed a lot, and it looked really good. And not just facial bleed, okay? I don't think Gunther even bled that way. He bled because Priest was chopping him so damn hard. You know, that was what really happened, and this was just such a great match. It actually was one of the best, if not the best match of the entire night. You know, in-ring work-wise, this was one of the best matches of that entire night. And yeah, Gunther's title reign started off at an all-time high, I gotta say. It was really good when it was all about, you know, these hard, heavy-hitting matches that were just, as Sheamus would say, bangers. These matches were absolute bangers, and it was just a fun match, you know? And yeah, as I said, this was a great way for him to start. It was a great starting point for him. Even though he didn't win the title, like, you know, fair and square, he won as a heel, you know, but then again, he didn't really want Finn's help, but that's beside the point. He still won, and they still put on a really good match. The feud leading into it was pretty good, actually. For Damian Priest standards, it was actually a really good feud, and honestly, I have no complaints where this one is concerned. We then go to Gunther's first title defense, and that being at Bash in Berlin against Randy Orton. This was another really good match, another great feud leading into it, and again, Randy Orton just knows how to create an amazing feud. This was all about putting Gunther over, and to silence the critics about the King of the Ring match that they had, where Randy's shoulders were not completely down, and the ref still counted to 3, and it was so obvious that Gunther did not win that match, even though they gave the win to Gunther. So I think that was the whole point of this match, was to basically silence those people and finally put Gunther over, and it did that. It did that in a really good way. Unfortunately, I knew going into this match that Gunther was going to win. I mean, Gunther was their top mega over, you know, heel, the guy that they have protected since NXT, and I think when he was overseas too, like, they protected the hell out of him. Even when he was Walter, they protected the shit out of him. So I knew damn well Randy Orton was not going to take the belt off of him on his first title defense. But either way, they still put on a hell of a feud, a hell of a match, and I have no complaints where this one is concerned either. This was just a really good match. I'm going to probably start talking a hell of a lot more once it comes to the matches that actually were problematic and not good for Gunther. But so far, first 2 matches involving the belt with Gunther have been really good. Now, this is where it starts to kind of go downhill. Gunther ends up defending his title against Sami Zayn, the guy who actually took Gunther's IC title that WrestleMania. And again, it was another case of they're trying to put Gunther over, so have Gunther face the people that he cannot beat, and Sami Zayn being one of those people. He wanted to get over on Sami Zayn because Sami Zayn took the IC title from him. And I completely get it. It was a great idea, but the way they made Gunther look in this, it was almost as if he was not 100% confident in his abilities to beat Sami Zayn, and I was not really happy about that. I think Gunther really should have just been like accepted the fact that he lost to Sami Zayn before, and he moved on. He now has the world title, and he's not going to let it happen again. But that's not really what they did. They kind of made Gunther look a little bit scared of Sami Zayn, and that is a recipe they end up repeating a few times throughout Gunther's reign, is where he actually looks scared of his opponent, when it should be the other way around. Gunther should be the one putting fear into his opponents, and he really wasn't. I mean, it wasn't that bad. Again, their match was really, really good. Sami Zayn is just so damn good, so I had no complaints about that. Sami Zayn did his part, you know. I think it was a really solid feud, but that would be my really only critique, is the fact that they started making Gunther look a little bit weak and a little bit scared of his opponents. And this is around the part that they completely lost me with this Gunther title reign, and that is it wasn't really a title defense, but it was champion versus champion at Crown Jewel, Cody Rhodes versus Gunther. And the problem with this is that Gunther should have gone over in this match. In my opinion, I think Gunther should have gone over, but it was completely about making your top guy look so damn dominant, and that being Cody Rhodes, obviously. And they did that, and truthfully, I'm under the impression that Cody Rhodes did not need this win. I don't think Cody Rhodes should have won this match. I think this was a great way to make Gunther look really, really dominant, kind of make him, you know, be this champion that, wow, who is actually going to beat him, you know? But then when you have someone like Cody Rhodes beat him, I mean, I don't know. Granted, yes, Cody Rhodes did just beat Roman Reigns and end the streak, you know, end the title streak that he had, but doesn't really matter in my opinion. I mean, seriously, I don't really think Cody Rhodes should have won this match. I think this is more or less the time to put Gunther over. You know, Gunther was struggling around this point where he just did not have a great direction. You know, they didn't really know what to do with him after the Sami Zayn feud, and then they go with this and they do this feud with him, and then, or not feud, but just, it was kind of a feud, kind of not, but Gunther was basically, you know, looking a little bit more dominant, but then again, they did it again where he looked a little bit scared of Cody Rhodes, and then again, Cody Rhodes actually ended up beating him, which I'm not really a huge fan of that. I really think Cody Rhodes should not have won this match. I think Cody Rhodes was doing just fine. You know, I don't think Cody Rhodes needed this. And even if Cody Rhodes lost this match, I think he would be still doing just fine, you know. But again, this is a great way to put over somebody like Gunther, who barely loses, and then you have him lose to Cody Rhodes. It's like, if you're really trying to protect this thing of him not losing, having him lose to Cody Rhodes was not the way to do it. And then we come full circle at Survivor Series, where Damian Priest and Gunther have a rematch for the title. And again, another, you know, thing they reused. Finn Balor came out and interrupted the match and cost Priest the match again. Now, at first, I really wasn't upset about that. I love Finn, so obviously anytime Finn's involved with the world title, I'm going to be excited. But they really did just rinse and repeat exactly what they did at SummerSlam, even though Finn had already betrayed Priest. So it was all about, they did not want Priest to actually, or Finn did not want Priest to have the title back. And I get that part of it, I get that part, but at the same time, dude, it's like, stop reusing the same shit. Because the thing that was a little bit different about this one was the fact that throughout all of November, this is when Gunther was at his all-time low, okay? This was at his all-time low. He lost to Cody Rhodes, and they completely shattered his character with that. Because I think this is their way of having a character arc with him, but holy shit, it was done so damn bad, because Gunther basically just looked scared of Priest every single time he was out there with him. You know, anytime Priest would come to the ring, and I get it, I think Priest actually had Gunther's best match, you know, outside of maybe Randy Orton. I think Damian Priest had Gunther's best match so far, but I don't know, man, the way they did it, I wasn't a fan of it, because they like really put Priest over by doing this. And I get it, they were trying to work on Priest, but wow, Priest, I don't know, man. This, in putting Priest over, they basically destroyed Gunther. I mean, Gunther should not have been scared of him at all, and honestly, it should have been the other way around. Priest should have been scared of him. And I get it, you want to build up the person who's actually going to face him, but that way there might actually be a chance where Priest actually defeats Gunther. And around this time, I actually thought there was a chance, because holy cow, dude, like, Gunther was looking scared and shit. It was just really weird. And then Priest was looking so strong. Priest was actually looking like the guy who was actually going to win the match. And They ended up having Finn go out there and cost Priest, which, right move or not, it doesn't ultimately really matter. This match, though, honestly, that was not a repeat of SummerSlam. I don't think this match was as good as the SummerSlam match. I've heard some complaints about this match saying it was terrible. I wouldn't say it was terrible, but I definitely think it was probably his weakest title defense so far that he's had. And, I mean, I don't really know what it is. It was almost as if they were, pulling their punches in a sense. I don't know. It felt a little bit different, and I really don't know what they were going with in this match, but honestly, it wasn't as bad as people make it out to be, but I definitely think it was the weakest of his title defenses. But oh my goodness, having Priest make Gunther scared, I was just not a fan of that at all. That basically ruined this entire title reign. Cody was definitely the start of the downfall, but wow, the downfall happened super quickly after that, because in between Crown Jewel and Survivor Series, Gunther was 100% at his all-time low in his title reign. It was a terrible, terrible month for Gunther. November was so bad in terms of character work and character development for him that it made nobody really care for him. Nobody really liked him. No, I don't know. It's like you made your heel, of all people, you made your heel character. This is around the time they were also trying to see if maybe they can turn Gunther face. I was just like, what are we doing? Gunther is a heel, and that is what he needs to be. Gunther does his all-time best work as a heel. Why are we trying to make him turn face? This was not the time to do it. That still is not the time to do it, and obviously they're not going to do it because now they have the mega over face Jey Uso going against them, but still, this was just not a good idea for Gunther, and his title reign really suffered throughout the month of November, and I don't think it has recovered since that month. But then we go to Saturday night's main event, where Finn is now involved in this match, and it becomes a triple threat match. I actually really liked this match. I thought this was a fun match. I think Finn looked really, really good in this match, but then again, this is not about Finn. This is about Gunther. And Gunther, truthfully, I honestly kind of forgot he was there a lot of the time. Finn was kind of stealing the spotlight for me because Finn was taking all the big guy bumps. He was doing some cool moves against the big guys. And honestly, I think Gunther kind of got lost in the feud between Finn and Priest. This was more about a boiling point for Finn and Priest than it was about Gunther's title reign. And Gunther's title reign was just kind of a background character in this, I don't... Honestly, this match I thought was pretty solid, but did it do anything for Gunther? Not really, because you kind of just forgot he was involved in the match, Kind of felt like more of a match between Finn and Priest than it did Gunther. Gunther definitely got lost in the mix of all of it. He got lost, and you could tell because all of a sudden he would come out of nowhere and you'd be like, holy shit, Gunther's actually in the match. I forgot about that. It's a title match, not a Finn and Priest match. And yeah, I don't know. I think, unfortunately, this was around the time that Finn and Priest should have been, wrapping up this feud, and it took them all the way until like Raw on Netflix to actually finally end the feud in a street fight. But again, Priest weaseled his way into this match, even though it should have been just Finn and Gunther. I think Finn and Gunther might have actually helped put Gunther over a little bit more, but they of course had to involve Priest. So yeah. If it was just Finn and Gunther, I think this definitely would have put Gunther over a lot more than you would think. Yes, it would be two heels, but at the same time, it would make you start liking the heel champion that there is. This would get you to start liking him, and maybe not. Maybe you'd want Finn to win or whatnot, but then again, that's a good thing, is that if you want Gunther to lose, then that's good. If you want Gunther to win, obviously that's kind of good, but kind of not. I mean, it ultimately depends on what you're into. If you like heels, then yes, that's good. If you don't like heels, then it is what it is. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm under the opinion that this really should have just been a Gunther and Finn fight, and Gunther, looked like $1 million against Finn. I think that's really what this match should have been, and it wasn't, unfortunately. Now we go to Saturday night's main event in January, where he faced Jey Uso. And wow, this was kind of another example of having Gunther look scared of Jey Uso at certain times. And another one where I was not a fan of that. I really was not a fan of them making Gunther look scared of Jey Uso. I really was not a fan of that. And then the match, I don't understand why it's getting a lot of praise as it was good. People saying it was good. Wow, dude, that was one of Gunther's worst title defenses I've ever seen. I mean, I think this was worse than the Priest match. This was a really bad match, and you got to see how bad of a wrestler Jey Uso really is. I mean, I'm sorry, people, but you have got to come back to earth. Jey Uso is not that great of a wrestler. Jimmy is better, and it is so obvious. I mean, look at his spears, for instance. Sure, he will deliver a solid spear every once in a while, but it ultimately depends on who is selling the spear for him. And if he doesn't have someone who can sell the spear for him, I mean, he does not make the spear look good, and obviously the person won't make it look good who's taking it. So, another one. And then another thing is, he and his brother overused that damn super kick so much. Wow, that kick is literally every second they use it. I mean, they spam that thing. And then he isn't even that good at making it look good. You know, I thought he made it look okay, but wow, Jimmy makes it look so much better. And Jimmy makes it look like an actual finishing move. You know, I don't know. I really don't know what they were planning with this one, because I mean, I guess it was a stepping stone for him. I don't even know. You know, a stepping stone for Jey Uso going after him at WrestleMania. I think that's really what this was, you know, trying to put it out there that Jey Uso could possibly beat Gunther. But again, of all freaking people to beat Gunther, we're going to have it be Jey Uso. Wow, dude. Another one where it's like, what happened to protecting Gunther's dominance? I mean, I wouldn't have been opposed if it was somebody else, you know, like maybe a Seth Rollins or possibly a Drew McIntyre or Roman Reigns or someone like that. But no, we got to do Jey Uso. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this one either. Really not. And now he's going to be starting to have a feud with, or he's now, obviously they're in the midst of their feud heading into WrestleMania. And wow, dude, another one where it's almost as if Gunther is finally starting to look like a dominant champion again, but not really. You know, at first, after the Royal Rumble, Jey Uso was getting a couple over on Jey, or Jey was getting a couple over on Gunther, and then they switched it around after Elimination Chamber, and now it's been Gunther getting a couple over on Jey. And it's literally, they are just swapping who gets over, it feels like, each night. And it's like they're not doing anything different with them. Like, there's no backstage segments. There's, like, nothing, really. I mean, yes, you get an interview with Jey Uso or an interview with Gunther, but, like, fighting backstage, something like that. Make this feud actually entertaining outside of the ring. Kind of like what Seth Rollins and CM Punk are doing. Kind of do the same thing with them, but they're not. And it is suffering a lot because, again, this feud already does not have a lot going for it outside of Jey Uso's yeet going, but that's literally only it, you know? I mean, that is the only reason why people want Jey Uso to win, so there can be a massive yeet movement come WrestleMania. And at WrestleMania, there is going to be so much yeeting that night, it's going to be insane. But again, I really just thought that this was around the time that Gunther should really start looking more dominant again, and all he's doing is using sleeper holds against Jey. He's not doing his power bomb or his whatever the hell else he can do. He's just doing sleepers, and it doesn't even look good, you know? Yes, he knocks him out, but like, again, it's just such a weak way of doing it, you know? I don't know. In my opinion, it's not a strong way of making him look good, and it has shown. It really has shown. Jey Uso, I don't know. I'm not a fan of Jey Uso that much, and Gunther, I've been more of a fan of, and I got ripped to shreds in one of my videos that I made recently where I basically said that I ranked Gunther at number 2 as the best, as his title reign's been number 2 out of everyone. Guys, that's purely because of his longevity. That it has nothing to do with everything else. He has just had more sample size. He has had more to do, it feels like, than every other champion out there. And I like the way Gunther talks whenever he's looking confident. You know, that is the problem. And here's the thing, is he's not looking confident all the time. So obviously, it is a small sample size for when he's actually looking confident. But that's really what carried his ranking for me. I'm not a huge fan of him in the ring, but I know he is good in the ring. But again, that really is what carried that ranking for me, is the fact that he's just had the longevity of a champion, you know? And unfortunately, as I just went through the list, he really hasn't had many title defenses. And I think, again, that is one of the main reasons why people are not a fan of him. So please tell me down below if I've missed anything, because honestly, this is a feud that, or not even a feud, this is just a title reign that can be forgotten, in my opinion. This is a very forgettable title reign. It is nothing compared to Seth Rollins' title reign. And Damian Priest did solid. I think Priest's title reign was actually better than Gunther's, and Gunther's had a longer title reign so far. And it is pretty sad to say that. Gunther should have had a better title reign, and he has not. Gunther, I think, defended his Intercontinental Championship almost every single week, and now it's like he barely defends this title. We're lucky to get a title defense from him in a month, you know. He gets lost in the shuffle, it feels like, and that should not be the case with your World Heavyweight Champion. But again, please tell me down below if I missed anything, because I'm sure as shit I probably did. I know he's had matches, but they were not for the world title. Like, he faced Dom in November, I think it was, or December, one or the other, and then he just faced Otis and Akira Tozawa. But I don't know, man, those don't really count as title defenses for me, because we all know those three were not taking the belt off of him. You know, it doesn't count. And I don't even think those were really for the title. I think they were for a title opportunity. So it's like, again, it really doesn't really make it much sense for me, but it is what it is. Yeah, I'm done. Till next time, see ya.